Hello, and welcome to another episode of All the Mods 9. Today, I think we're going to try and get advanced SMD components. We're going to try and make the nano circuits. All in all, going to aim to finish IV. So we've got a little bit more fluid crafting to go. We need some glycerol to make some epoxy, to make nano processors. We need to make other variants of high-speed steel, and that'll allow us to make these advanced components to then start producing nanoprocessors. I'm gonna skip this quest for the IV processing array, mainly because of this big warning that it's deprecated and will be removed in a future version. Between episodes, there were a couple updates to the pack. A few were to GregTech, so just to point those out, they changed how energy hatches work and how overclocking works. Now, when you overclock, you need 2 energy hatches minimum. So these guys running with 4 amp energy hatches, they no longer overclock. You can see this thing runs at EV, despite having 4 amps available to it. I think the reason for that was to prevent progression skipping. If we look at the large circuit assembling facility, for example, the energy hatch on this, it allows exactly 1. And if you had a 4 amp energy hatch, you could overclock it to a tier higher than it was meant to be able to cook or to use. So, same for the assembling machine. This was also changed to allow exactly 1 energy hatch. If you now overclock it with a 4 amp energy hatch, you don't get access to the higher tier recipes, but it still should process things at the faster rate, as if it were overclocked. So I guess it's still overclocked, just not in terms of recipe tier. A lot of multi-blocks now, like the electric blast furnace, will only accept up to 2 energy hatches. It used to be that they would accept up to 3. The 3rd energy hatch never really helped, so I suppose this is fine. I think the only instance it might have helped was in like wall sharing, if you lined up 3 electric blast furnaces and just powered them on the bottom. Anyway, wasn't something we were doing, so thankfully it doesn't affect us. And one of the other big changes was the wire mill. The wire mill now has more recipes and uses program circuits. So now we can stick ingots in on program 3, and that'll give us fine wire. On program 1 gives us the regular output that we're used to. And if you put wire in, you don't need a programmed circuit to get fine wire out. So I had to break my wire mill and put it back down again, change the circuit setting to 1. I'm not sure why I had to break it and replace it, but I sure did. And it's April Fool's, at least currently for me, which makes chemical reactors whisper. You see if you can catch it. It whispers science. You can see the subtitle doesn't have a translation, but it's whispering science over and over again. To recap last episode, we took a lot of time to build out a bunch of large chemical reactors, all in the pursuit of making polybenzimidazole, or PBI. We upgraded our blast furnace, to RTM and then to high speed steel G. We passived, or rather, we used all our sheldonite to make ruthenium and rhodium just automatically for us. There is no shut off. It just takes all the sheldonite we get and instantly turns it into ruthenium and rhodium. And we got ourselves some potion effects and made them infinite with the help of the infusion pylon and reliquary. I think I want to start off actually by getting dragon teeth because it's used in making this non-hatchable dragon egg, which is used in making the dragon soul. So we need 18 dragon teeth. And to get the dragon tooth, I have to kill the ender dragon with a knife from one of the Farmer's Delight mods. So just deciding which one I want to go with. Probably can't use the one from Delightful. So I might go with Twilight's Flavor and Delight's version of the Nightly Knife. Or maybe we just do Instone. Just in case. Just to make sure that it works, because the dragon tooth is from In's Delight. So just in case, I'm going to use an In's Delight knife. It only does 2.5 hearts of damage, which isn't great. So I might try and reforge this thing. Maybe, maybe I take another uh, diversion here and make the Apotheosis Enchanting setups that I'm gonna need. Yeah, I'm gonna make Apotheosis Enchanting happen. So, to start Apotheosis Enchanting, looks like we have the option of sea shelves or hell shelves. I'll probably go. Yeah, hell shelves cost you a potion of regeneration, so I probably won't do that. Whereas a sea shelf is just a bottle of water and prismarine bricks, which is easy for us. I believe we have a prismarine bee and a water bee getting us pufferfish. We just need water bottles. Make extra here just in case we need it. Interesting. So, despite it saying it's going to cost 3 levels, it's only costing 3 levels worth of experience. Yeah, the raw experience cost is only 686. It's not taking 3 levels from our current level, which is, I think, quite nice. Do I need to make a hell shell for this? Hmm. Well, it looks like I won't be completing uh, this chapter anytime soon because I don't plan on making hell shelves. Looks like our next step here is Heart Forge Sea Shelves. We get a maximum Eterna of 30 instead of 27. That's easy enough. We have plenty of Hearts of the Sea. Looks like that'll let us upgrade Deep Shelves. It has to be cracked deep slate tiles. Curious. That's fine. Do we awaken the deep shelf? We need 30, 40, 40. So it looks like these guys will give us 30 and 40 pretty easily with Arcana, but not the Quanta. The Quanta we need to get from somewhere else, and we can just search Quanta directly in JEI. Looks like we can get that from Wither Skeleton Skulls or Crystalline Seashelves. I don't believe we can make in shelves yet. Yeah, they use infused Dragon's Breath. We could make a B shelf, but I think we'll have the easiest time with Wither Skeleton Skulls. Yeah, easy enough. Now we can awaken all these regular deep shelves, or dormant deep shelves, into deep shelves. Worthwhile to make extra. Never know when we'll need more of these. Oh, we're out of levels. That's alright. Okay. There are the deep shelves. Looks like we can make soul touch deep shelves into skulk shelves, into echoing deep shelves into echoing skulk shelves. Let's look at the skulk variants. Need some skulk and some warden tendrils. They look pretty similar compared to the deep shelves, which seem fine. Turns out I don't have a lot of candles, but I have plenty of echo shards, and I can make candles. Okay, that's good. I suppose I'll turn half of these into the echoing variant, and half of these into the soul touched variant. Although I probably don't have enough soul lanterns. Looks like I don't have a lot of skulk either. I think I can fix that. I have a silk touch pickaxe. Let's quickly go to an ancient city. And these skulk shelves used warden tendrils and skulk as well. So I'm going to get some extra skulk. I don't have many warden tendrils or skulk catalysts. Actually, I do have some number. Let's continue gathering skulk. Good test of resistance 5. Just thinking, Warden Tendril. You can get by predicting the Warden. The other thing was Skulk Catalyst. We can get by killing the Warden. Why don't we summon another one of those guys? Just capture them. We can farm him with the wannabe. Oops. That's likely enough Skulk. I guess we'll find out. Just have to get ourselves some bees going. That they're all upside down. We need is a brief moment. I suppose I can go through some of these. Start cleaning this out a little bit. Good bees. So where were we? Now we need to infuse dragon breath. For that we need 40 Eterna, 60 Arcana, and 15 to 25 Quanta. Make the end shelf. It looks like we'll use the echoing shelf. Probably don't need these skulls anymore. We are at 40, 60, 100 Arcana, so we need to reduce our Arcana. Whoa. We need to make more deep shelves, apparently. Looks like we need these for later to make this guy. This guy's sick. Allows treasure enchantments is huge. That would be things like mending. I think. Maybe. Right, so where were we? We were lowering our Quanta and our Arcana. We could make stone shelves. We could make. That's about it, by the looks of it. Alright, let's make stone shelves. Wait, I don't think we need to lower our Arcana at all for this infused dragon breath. It requires at least 60. Whoops, I was going to make it 60. We need to lower Quanta to be between 15 and 25%. And the easiest way to do that is with a melon shelf. That took our Quanta down too much. There we go. 20% Arcana. That's between 15 and 20. It looks like we're in a good spot there. We can take some Dragon's Breath and infuse it. And I think I'm going to leave this setup as it is. So let's go place down a new enchanting table. It has 15% Quanta somehow. I guess just by existing. I'm going to leave this one here because Infusion Enchanting has a couple of recipes here, one of which is the 40, 15 to 25, 60. And you'll see there's Nether Infused Teleportation Core that is the exact same. Maybe it's dumb to keep multiple of these. But anyway, our next shelf is the end shelf. And it looks like we can make the Draconic end shelf and the Pearlescent. If we had end rods. Oh, we can craft end rods. That's pretty sick. Our inventory is a little bit messy. Let's infuse our teleportation cores. Get that over and done with. There's the nether infused. Let's check out a different one like the ender infused. Um, Actually, we'll do draconic infused because that one seems easier. You just need 50, 45 to 50, and 100. The ender one, it's also 50, 8.5 to 13, and between 32 and 37. That one's going to be more difficult, I feel. But we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. Thank you, melon shelves. Thank you, skulk shelves. That wasn't so bad. There's exactly 50 Eterna. 8.5 to 13.5 Quanta. We're going to need melon shelf. And another draconic end shelf. That puts us down to 5. We need to add a little bit to this. We have regular skeleton skull. Perfect. So Quanta's finished, Eterna's finished. All we need now is Arcana and nothing but Arcana. I suppose we could fill the place up with like candles. We could use this heart forged sea shelf. We need 32.5. So I will use candle. You can stack them up and they all count each one. Very nice, I think. Infusion. Now we've got the ender infused. We'll make 18 of those. Last but not least, we need the 50, 45 to 50, and 100. Let's see. Let's use pearlescent end shells. Let's throw down one draconic. And We need more Arcana. We can put down some Heart Forged. Now we need to lose Quanta. Nothing like some melons to drop your Quanta. We need to get down to 45. That's a little bit too much. Put down one more pearlescent shelf, and that should put us right smack at 50. Which makes the Draconic. These are fun little puzzles. Sure, the quest would have told us exactly how to make it or like led us to it, but we didn't need it. Now we have Draconic, Ender Infused, and Nether Infused teleportation cores. Alright, what is the quote-unquote best enchanting setup? We haven't made any shelves of infused rectification. That looks actually pretty easy. If we still had some infused seashells. Whoops. Well, we still have some regular seashelves. It only called for 3. Whoops. Looks like I'm making 4. I don't have any gilded blackstone, but I may have some blackstone. I have 60. To make this, I need 4, so I need at least 16 gilded. I believe I can make that in our metallurgic infusing factory. Just throw some gold in here. Not gold, apparently. Throw some gold dust in here. There we go. And blackstone. Did I count wrong? Oh, I did. 100 millibuckets to make 1. And this is only 10, so I need 160. Oops. So I need a bit more gold. And a bit more gold. There we go. Right, the best enchanting setup. 5 echoing skulk shelves, 5 soul touched deep shelves. Can they be soul touched skulk shelves? What's the difference? Probably. One gives arcana and rectification. I don't see that being a problem. Why does it only call for 3 of these when it's only 25%? And it says in the text 4. It says to use soul touched deep shelves. Only 4 of them. I'm confused. And 7 echoing. And 5 draconic. What in the world? Right. We are not trusting whatever the quest book says. We're gonna go about it ourselves. So we're gonna use some echoing skulk shelves. I think 6 is plenty. I'm gonna use some soul touched. That many is plenty. We're gonna put 1 draconic shelf right there. Now we just need to place our 3 infused. Rectification. We only have 7 enchanting clues. Let's make that higher. Does this look stupid? A little bit. That's okay. Ooh, something I'm interested in for sure is the library. Oh, okay. I can use any infused shelf and 4 ender chests. What does it take to make? Oh, I need 45 to 50% quanta. That was easy. Some books that I put away for a rainy day. We can now store. I guess we can just enchant some books. Care to mend this? I guess. Sure. Now that we've got all the things, we just have to decide what we want. I suppose loot pinata, if we get lucky, that could be really good for us. So that's what I'm gonna go with for that. Wondering, I don't believe I have a Twilight Gem. It would be nice to summon a treasure goblin, but that's okay. Happy with loot pinata. We'll see what we end up getting when we. Looks like we could upgrade our sword by quite a bit. Probably also axe. But alas, this will be fine. Spent a little bit of time and we crushed Apotheosis. I love the deep shelf of arcane treasures. This thing is sick. If our knife is strong enough to one tap the dragon. Well, not one tap, but to beat it without breaking all of these end crystals. Looks like it might be. Oh, excuse me. A few times. I need 18. We have 5 of 18. Glad I put looting on this thing. Oh my god. Well, there's the loot explosion. Perfect. We got very lucky. 3 kills, and on the third kill, we loot pinated. Cool. I think we are in a good spot. We've got extra dragon's teeth, just in case we need them. We knocked out Apotheosis. Pretty sure we got Chronicle of Shadows already. Yeah, so I'm just gonna delete this book. We got an Intelligence Gem, which adds 30 mana for Iron's spells and spellbooks. That's nice. And a Potion of Mana Regeneration for Ars Nouveau. I don't think we care about that. All that's left for us to do, head back to the mining dimension, smash this gem, put away this book. Thing I didn't realize right away with the energy hatch change, these 4 amp energy hatches aren't useful to us anymore. The recipe for them changed. So if we look in here for energy hatch, the 4 amp energy hatch used to cost a voltage transformer. It no longer does. And I see no reason for us to make 4 amp energy hatches anymore. So I'm just going to clear these patterns and delete these 4 amp energy hatches I had made. I see no purpose to them. We now need to upgrade this from EV to IV. Part of that upgrade, I'm going to need to upgrade these pipes. 100 millibuckets a tick is fine when it takes, 50 seconds to process a recipe. It's less fine when it takes 25, or however much it's going to take once I upgrade these. So we're going to swap out our energy converters. We're going to swap out our energy hatches and install New energy hatches. It should allow this to run again. I'm going to end up voiding these on accident. What can you do? But yeah, now they run quite a bit faster. We can delete these 4 amp energy hatches. It was a nice idea while we thought it would work, but it won't work, so oh well. We'll use 2 energy hatches and overclock like normal. And I will upgrade all of these. I made an extra one. Oh well, that's fine. Let's order some more energy hatches. We just had to add 8, so I'll make 8 more. Come on. I think that's a pretty good start. Next for me is making the Sheldonite bee. Just like that. I stopped recording to make the Sheldonite bee and forgot to keep recording. It's now the next day, so the bees are no longer upside down. We are getting ourselves plenty of raw Sheldonite. And that's with the processing active right now. So this thing is exporting the raw Sheldonite and it's going back through the process. I had turned that off to build up some raw Sheldonite so that I could make a block so that I could pollinate the bee. But it looks like our bee outpaces IV machines, which is fine. I forgot to start recording again. I got a little carried away, started making helium in liquid form, so I built a new vacuum freezer right here. We just have an interface that stocks helium gas on an input hatch and an interface on an output hatch. And I did put a level emitter for just 10,000 buckets and a machine controller on it, so it shouldn't produce more than we need. I did augment this vacuum freezer a little bit, the one that's still at EV. So it still has its pattern provider, and now it knows how to make high-speed steel E and S ingots from hot. And if we look at it normally, you'll see it takes a hot ingot and liquid helium to cool. So this is why I had to modify it. I put an interface with liquid helium on an input hatch, so it just pulls that helium in and it just sits there until it needs it. And I have an interface on an output hatch to receive the helium gas back. And I still just use an item pipe from the output bus. But we have the channels. I could make this an interface as well, if I so chose. On top of that, I made the patterns for the high-speed steel dusts. They are both in my IV mixer that serves 3 program circuit functions, kind of a lot for one mixer, but since each recipe goes in individually, it tends to be fine. At least I haven't run into any issues. I built an EV transformer to take IV power and transform that into EV for our EV circuit assembler. And I made the patterns for all the nano processors. And if we take a quick look, I also made all the nano processors, plus some extra LUV tier ones, so that I could upgrade the circuit assembler right away. Let's go ahead and take these out. There it goes. And yeah, you can see I have finished Insane Voltage. We made calcium acetate, turned that into acetone. It does talk about doing calcite dust for calcium acetate, but the way I went instead was quicklime dust and acetic acid rather than calcite dust and acetic acid. The reasoning behind that was if you distill calcium acetate into acetone, you get quicklime dust back. So it seemed like it seemed renewable in that sense. We made the bisphenol A. We turned that into epoxy with epichlorohydrin. We made glycerol. I did not make a large chemical reactor for it. So it doesn't need the large chemical reactor to make. You can also make it in 1 bucket increments rather than 9 bucket. The reason I went with the 1 bucket increment, I think I did this recipe. It turns out, I said previously, we don't need a lot of ethanol. I've been wrong. We need ethanol to make glycerol, and we need 6 buckets of fish oil. I chose fish oil instead of seed oil since fish oil makes lubricant already, but it does take a lot of extracting fish. 1 tropical fish gives you 70 millibuckets of fish oil. And I thought 6 buckets for the 1 bucket output was much more manageable than the 54 buckets from the large chemical reactor. The epoxy does link to raw carbon fibers. It says you can make that to get 4 carbon dust. But we already had polybenzimidazole, which it also mentions. Using PBI and some carbon dust, you get more raw carbon fibers. I went ahead and made all of the advanced components as well. We made the dusts. So now we have a lot of rewards to accept. And the other bit of the quest line I didn't do was this part here of getting iridium dust. We were lucky enough to find iridium when we were first getting set up, which is how we have an iridium B. Crystalline and the neon cuckoo bee. This guy takes a block of the stuff. But the combs give you nuggets. So yeah, it's been running for a while, you could say. And we've upgraded our circuit assembler. All that's left for me to do is to take this HV1, take the recipes out, make sure they're all as upgraded as they can be. And put them in here. So the IV tier circuit we no longer need. We have a new way of making IV tier circuits. Same with EV tier circuits. Same with high voltage circuits. But we could upgrade our medium voltage tier circuits. Now that we're at IV, we do not... Oh, we do have the SoC chips. Nice. The microprocessor chips, we can now make 6 of these at once instead of just 3. So we can upgrade that. And this one was already as good as it gets. So we have the best ULV, LV, and MV tier circuits. And eventually we'll get to the advanced system on chip once we make an LUV circuit assembler. I think our next order of business will be to replace all these high voltage machines with insane or maybe even LUV machines if we can afford it. If we look at the quest line for LUV, maybe we go with this large engraving laser instead. And just make one of those in this space. Because we did make this room very large. But yeah, we made the quantum star to make the IV emitter, not for the assembly line, but for the elite circuit assembler. Strange that a prerequisite is the LUV machine hull, but that's okay. We'll get there. We have to make rhodium-plated palladium, machine casings, and then a hull. With that, though, I think we can say we've completed our objective for this episode. Thank you for hanging out with me, watching through to the end. And as always, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.